and welcome to a brand new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I'm your host Corinne. I own the Woolly Thistle and I'm with my co-host Maggie, who is our marketing and sales manager. And how have you been the last couple of weeks, Maggie?
Good, busy.
Yeah? What's keeping you busy?
Family, the yard, so many leaves. I don't know. Your new yard looks lovely.
Oh, it does? It's full of leaves.
Is it?
Oh my gosh.
That actually makes me feel better because the last photo you showed, I'm like, where are all her
No. Came back from Rhinebeck and all the trees are gone everywhere.
Yeah, we have quite a few. We have a big maple and then we have two, I don't know what they are, oaks or something up front, but
nature lover that you are.
All they're pretty. You don't have to identify them. They're just pretty.
That's true.
But yeah, this weekend had me. I wore a leaf blower for the first time ever. I was out there. I borrowed my kids' noise canceling headphones.
Was it a big powerful one? A gas filled one?
It was gas filled. Yeah.
I could see it
my
taking
arm
you up.
is like literally sore because I did the whole yard.
Yeah.
My husband was off doing something else. They were fixing a window and.
Well, good that you did that. I
say
actually
they because we have a friend of the family that whenever anything is going on at our house,
he's
helping with the repair.
He's leading the way, maybe.
Yes, not maybe for sure.
Yeah, we I actually did a little research on best leaf blowers because I had so many leaves. I came home from Rhinebeck and literally panicked.
Yeah.
Like I can't rake all these. Plus I've got a sore shoulder right now. But anyway. So I found the best one that was, a battery powered one. Got it from Amazon. The thing was like, wee.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, it's going right back.
Yeah, our neighbor has a good electric one, but and Jason, my husband, was using that one yesterday because our neighbor recently had his shoulder replaced.
Oh wow!
And so we're helping him with his leaves this year. And
extra leaves.
Yeah, extra leaves. That I have not had anything to do with that yard. My son and husband have been helping.
That's nice.
But Jason, I'm over here with this like powerful.
I can see your feet coming off the ground with that. You're so teeny tiny.
I had a lot of fun with it. But he came back and he said the electric one, it worked, it did the job, but he said after you've used the gas one.
Oh, for sure. For sure, definitely. I'm actually having lawnmower envy. I think I need to buy a ride-on lawnmower for next year because then you can just mulch your leaves with it and let them go into the grass.
Well, and the same neighbor with the shoulder, he actually has a riding mower.
Yeah.
And there's like this thing you can get to pull behind.
And to mulch them in or to collect them.
I think both, either one.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can set it different ways. And
well, anyway, we're not a gardening.
We're not a gardening thing. So, but you asked what's been taking my time. So yesterday, as I'm like dreaming of my knitting, I'm outside blowing leaves around.
Building those muscles.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really pitiful too because my arm is sore. Just one arm, I'm going to be lopsided because this arm did nothing.
Well, I mean, such is life in New England in the fall, right?
Yeah.
So
it's
now the leaves are bare.
That beauty.
The weather, though, has been gorgeous.
It has been amazing.
It's been amazing. Warm, like 60, 65.
Yeah.
Blue skies.
Yeah. Although really chilly mornings, like this morning was only 33, a little frost.
Well, yeah, when you have to get up and go to work, I don't know, that's like, but over the weekend, just sort of seeing it out there and not having to run out. Well, not like you were busy with that, but
I was busy. But
yeah, I wasn't. I was relaxing.
I wasn't. I'm that person who wants at least one day to sleep in,
Mm-hmm.
even if sleeping in is 8:30, and I did not get that. It was all for good causes, but
what happens to me, I know this about myself, is the time I do have a chance to sleep in, I'm awake at 4:30, 5 o'clock, lying there going, oh come on,
no,
it's just not fair.
No.
Anyway,
there's
welcome.
Weather for New England.
There is, yes, the whole fall report.
Yard work report.
I did actually transplant or take cuttings of some roses and planted them in the house in pots with little soda bottle
greenhouses.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
We'll see if it works. My house gets cold at night, but I've put them on a stool over a vent, so hopefully they will get nice warm air. I gotta water them. Gotta make sure I do that. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. I had terrible luck. I don't have a green thumb. I really wanted geraniums in pots, and I got a gorgeous geranium, and I tried to start, and none of them, not one, took. So I don't know. Anyway, okay, we got that out of our system. So we have loads to talk about this time. It is November, which means Black Friday is coming. And we are in full Black Friday event mode here. We have been for a while, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we are excited to get you all the information, all that lovely product information that you're going to be very excited for. We will talk about that today. But before we start all that, should we announce a winner, Maggie?
Yeah. So our first winner of a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle is Emily Boyd. And Emily says, so lovely to catch up with you as always, but especially after meeting you both in person at Rhinebeck.
Loved meeting you, Emily. I think we've met before too, actually. So
okay, but Emily said, I'm so glad you've been talking about the Kalevala book. I've had the Solaulu sweater in my queue for a long time, and I'm so excited for the book now. I pre-ordered the book while watching, and somehow 2 skeins of Rambler jumped into my cart to join the single skein I already have.
Oh, nice.
Emily, so you're a winner. If you want to email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps so we can find you and get you your gift card very quickly.
Yes, and she actually has a podcast called, I think, Quiet Happiness Knits. I've been watching Emily for years. I mean, she's been podcasting a good long while, and she's just lovely and delightful. So I'm so glad you're a winner, Emily. That's great. Okay, so
if you'd like to be a winner, just subscribe and leave a comment below.
Yes.
And you'll be eligible.
Give us a thumbs up. And did you say that? Subscribe?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Just repeating. Répétez-vous. Okay. So let's talk about knitwear. What are you wearing, Maggie?
I'm wearing my Riddari. It was 33 degrees this morning, so I put it on. I love it.
Just want to hug you. So scrumptious.
I know. I've had it on we've had chilly mornings all weekend, and I've just thrown it on as outerwear, and it's been wonderful.
It's Lettlopi.
It is Lettlopi. I knit it during the sweater cow. So that's it. Pretty much I followed the pattern, and my colors you can find on my Ravelry account, and we can put them in the show notes below in case you're interested in knowing what
great color combo. Used. This blue is just lovely. Love it.
I really like it. I'm finding it. I mean, I'm a blue gal anyway, but
but it's sort of the gray. I don't know. Oh, it's lovely. It's just so scrumptious.
Yeah.
And itchy much?
No, I do have a shirt on underneath it, and but even the neck, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who definitely needs to wear something underneath it, but as long as it's cold enough, I've found I don't have any issues.
Yeah, yeah. So this
probably by when it's 50 degrees later, this would be
itchy
coming off
for you. Okay, yeah. Well, also be warm. Be very, very warm.
Right. Yeah. Which usually I'm cold, so that's not too much of an issue.
Yeah. So do you have a replacement woolly something?
Not a woolly something. I think I have a sweatshirt at my desk.
Oh my God, the truth comes flying out.
I have a hoodie.
I don't own any hoodies or sweatshirts.
I do. I have a couple zip-up sweatshirts I like.
Actually, I do.
You
know, if you were to actually stalk me, you'd probably see me in a sweatshirt out in the garden or something like that. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, okay. Well,
and what are you wearing?
Oh, well, thank you. I'm wearing my latest FO, which I am absolutely in love with.
Scooch so you can really...
I'm wearing a long t-shirt underneath. It's got a split hem. Is drapey and loose. You know that's what I love.
And what did you knit it with?
This is knitted, and I don't have a skein of it here, but it's Studio Donegal. They're Aran white yarn. It's...
They're Heathers.
They're Heathers. It's a drop sleeve. I did shoulder shaping though. And then it's got this lovely, whatchamacallit, neck thing. What do you call that?
Turtleneck?
Collar? Cuff?
It doesn't look like a turtleneck.
It's not, it only goes up and stops. And this is a design that I'm working on, and I'm not finished designing yet. So this is a prototype. I might as well just launch into the next one that I'm knitting, shall I?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's a dropped shoulder, shaping, and I'm doing a bit more shaping on the actual body on this one. So this here, I've just split. It's knitted in the round, but can you smell that wool? Oh my God, it's so good. it's knit bottom up in the round, and then you separate here and knit back and forth for the top. So that's where I am with this right now. So this is Biches Bûches and their aran weight, and I'm really enjoying knitting with this.
This is Le Gros.
This is Le Gros, and you can see that I actually blocked it when it was here. So from that line down is blocked, and that line up is unblocked, and it just shows you the difference of blocking. And so I've done a little detail. I've done a little math on the sizing, which I don't need to get into right now, but then I did this little detail on the split hem. See that?
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cute? Yeah, so just to give a little sort of closure to that. And thoroughly enjoying the fastness of knitting with thicker yarn. I have to say, I finished this a week past Friday, and I just washed it so that I could wear it nice and, you know, not all nice and fresh today. But I have worn this thing constantly since finishing it. It's very comfortable and I'm enjoying it. So, but also I think you could knit this in Lettlopi and Vams by Rama, because those are all aran weights as well. So I'm going to keep playing with that, and I'm just going to keep working on it and tweaking it and making it what I think is as close to perfect as I can. And if you're interested in knitting it, let us know. I think it's going to be one of these, you know, it's a wardrobe basic, kind of like the vanilla sweater is too.
Yeah.
But it's different, you know, it's different construction. So you've got these nice thinner sleeves down here, or not big baggy sleeves, is what I mean. And they don't even start to down here. So the sleeves are very quick, which I like.
Nice.
Yes, so that's what I'm wearing. I'm loving it.
It looks cozy.
It is cozy, and the yarn is lovely. The Studio Donegal is gorgeous. Really happy with how the fabric came out.
Speaking of Studio Donegal,
the blankets. Thank you so much for coming and shopping. They pretty much flew out the door. Do we have any left? We must have a couple left.
Last time I checked, we had a couple left of, I think the Valentine one and the...
That's a lovely one, the pink and blue.
Yeah. They're all gorgeous.
They are. I definitely have one or two myself.
Yeah.
So those, thank you for showing up for those. Those will be off in the mail to you, I think.
Yeah.
And we actually packaged them up in boxes for you, which is nice. So be looking for your box. And just thanks for ordering those. I think they're great value.
They are great value.
And heirloom quality.
Especially for something hand woven. Yeah, they're just gorgeous.
So we're talking to Studio Donegal about our next order to see if we can get more. It will take time because they have to make them and they're artisanal. So it'll be when it is, and we'll let you know when that is. But yes, that was a fun day for sure.
Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing what they look like, the page is still live on the website. You can sign up for the back in stock. That lets us know sort of how much demand there is for them.
Yeah, and which colors you're gravitating to. That's helpful information too. Yep. All right.
I was gonna say, is that the only thing you're knitting?
There's other stuff that's sort of off the boil right now. How about you? Are you knitting anything, Maggie?
I am. I'm still knitting the Westknit's MKAL.
Let's have a lookie.
First up, I had no business casting anything else on, but I have a friend who has a birthday coming up, and so I cast on.
Well, that's always a good reason.
I have a cowl. Remember that I've shown it before. There's a handspun cowl that I like to wear, and it's a chevron. So this is handspun. It is scooching. It is. So it's very Barber Polly.
Oh my golly!
The fiber is from Into the World. I don't remember what base it's on. It is the Herding Cats colorway.
It is gorgeous.
It really, it's really pretty. So I started knitting the. You're supposed to start with a provisional cast on, but I was lazy, so I'll just work that out at the end. And it's a really simple pattern.
Oh, she's gonna love it.
I don't remember the name of the pattern, and it's actually not available. The blog that is gone now, so you can use the Wayback Machine and find the pattern. It was a free pattern at the time, so I actually did that and saved it in a document.
Good for you.
So I think I've put the link on my Ravelry project in case you're interested.
That's lovely.
So I'm hoping it'll go fairly fast. She won't get it in time for her birthday, but soon after.
That's okay.
So, and it's just very potato chippy and easy to memorize.
Such good
So
stuff,
I'll usually work on
Maggie.
this for like 15 minutes and then I jump back into the Westknits MKAL.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
So I'm not, the Westknits MKAL, the 4th clue went out. I am nowhere near the 4th clue.
The 4th clue already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's one a week. I don't know that I realized that was the pacing of it, but I knew I wouldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And it's not a race, and he says go at your own pace.
Yeah.
So I'm going at my own pace.
So
which
what
is
clue are
pretty
you on?
darn slow. I'm on clue 2.
Yay!
If you don't want to see what clue 1 or clue 2 looks like, you can scrub ahead now. Maybe we can put a timestamp of where you should go to, but you're going to want to close your eyes right now.
Chances are you're not going to have a spoiler.
Chances are you're not, but just in case.
Oh, whoa, that is spectacular.
So I finished clue 1. I don't know what way is up or which way is down.
Well, let's just hold it up. Oh my gosh, Maggie.
So I'm using Rambler in the blue spruce and the natural colorway. The pink is a handspun.
Oh my gosh.
And so the clue 1 is this middle part with all these.
It is spectacular. It is. I am not kidding.
It's a real showstopper, and I've not been happier to finish a section in my whole life.
I bet.
Like it was really, and then you loop it through, and it was really good to get it done.
It's actually beautiful.
It's just a lot of stitches. I'm not a fast knitter. So,
yeah. You wouldn't know that though.
Well, yeah, you would, because everybody else is on clue 4.
Oh, but garter stitch.
Yeah, so then you start on the sides. There's going to be like short rows on the sides, and
has Marie seen your progress?
No, she's seen it now.
Marie.
I've not really shared any photos on Instagram. I've been terrible on Instagram lately. But yeah, I've just been knitting away, and then it gets dark earlier now too.
Yes.
So then I'm like, oh, it's just a thing. So yeah, I started the short rows last night, and this is going much faster.
Yes. Thank God, right? He's rewarding you for your hard work.
Yeah.
I can't get over this. I have seen the other photos of this, and this blows my mind. This is spectacular.
I have managed to avoid spoilers, so I have no idea where it's going, which is sort of fun. And I took it on as a challenge of like, I'm going to go outside my box, because this is not something I would do.
Yeah.
And
I can see this being a skirt, you know.
I would not knit that, but yes. It's just a lot of stitches.
It's gorgeous.
But
and the Rambler feels good.
It does.
You're not blocked yet or anything.
No,
right?
I've not done anything to it.
It's nice.
You finish clue 1, and then I just jumped right into clue 2, and so I think that this is going to have multiple wedges.
Okay.
And then you'll pick up on this side and do the same.
Crazy.
After that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, if you're not knitting it and you want to see spoilers, go head over to Westknits. I'm sure he's got a reveal.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome
so
sauce.
That's most of what I mean.
Yeah.
I've been pretty monogamous, which is weird.
Are you enjoying knitting it?
I am. I finally got to the point at the end of clue 1 where it took me a while to go like, oh, all right, I don't need to look at the pattern. This is pretty much what I'm doing. Apparently it's hard when you only get to knit like mostly in the evening when your brain is already like toast.
Fried out.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and the yarn is lovely.
It is knitting up really
I'm
nice.
hoping my handspun's not too, because it's a little bit thicker than the Rambler is, but I'm hoping it'll be okay.
I think it'll be okay.
Because I'm not ripping back.
Nope.
It's pretty much.
It is what it is now.
Exactly.
Good colors. Good colors.
Yeah.
Anything else, lady?
That's it. That's what I've been working on.
Wow.
There's a lot of stitches in there. That, and then the handspun cowl.
So what do we have for contributions today? Because we should talk about who else is on the show, and then what we're going, what the rest of the show will be.
So Caitlin's joining us today. She's also knitting with some handspun and Centrum, and she's talking sweater knits.
Yes.
You're going to want to see her project. It's really pretty.
And when we come, we'll go to Caitlin next. And when we come back from her, we do have Rachel from Fair Isle. We'll get a postcard, a nice long postcard.
Yeah, she takes us on a journey. We get to pop by your mom's house. And then, just for a quick...
Yeah, because Rachel came down off the island with her fleece.
Yeah, so she shows the whole process of taking her fleeces over to Uist.
And she gets the ferry down, I think, and then drives down, stops off, says hello to some friends, including my mum, and then on she went. And she brings us to the mill, which is Uist. Did you just say that too?
Yeah.
So 3 for 3. Oh, God. Yeah, so we'll put that at the end, I think. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, after we come back from Caitlin, are we going to do some revealing?
Yeah, we're going to show you some of what you can expect with our Black Friday event.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go say hi to Caitlin and join us back here after.
Hi everybody, I'm Caitlin. Nice to see you again. I have a lot to share with you today. I brought in a lot of stuff here with me. So first of all, I want to talk about mosaic knitting. It's a fun technique. I've just started a new project using mosaic knitting. And I also want to talk about combining colors when you're working with variegated yarns, especially because there's kind of some extra factors involved there. So I'm wearing my shift cowl today, which is a good example of mosaic knitting. This is an Andrea Mowry pattern. An episode or two ago, Maggie was wearing the pullover sweater version of this called the Shifty. There's also the night shift shawl, which is a big triangle shawl. I think there's also a cardigan in the works, I've heard. So this is... this version is made in my Handspun yarn, and it is 3 colors of my Handspun. There's kind of a dark purple, this peachy cream, and this turquoise. I brought the skeins to show you because I think that's always kind of helpful and eye-opening to see what a skein looks like before it turns into its project. And yeah, this is made of kind of a hodgepodge of different fibers. The technique is mosaic knitting, and that's the kind of cool thing about this project. It's only ever one color being worked at a time. Mosaic knitting uses slip stitches to create patterns, while you're only ever using one color for an active row, kind of going back and forth. So you can see, like in this section, for example, here I was knitting with the turquoise color, but then from my previous 2 rounds, which had been the purple, you slip a stitch instead of knitting a new stitch in the new color, and that kind of pulls up the purple over top of your kind of working turquoise yarn. You'd think that it would make the stitches look super long and stretched out, and like your rows would be kind of wonky because you're not knitting every stitch every round, but it actually just creates this cool effect. So there's some sections where there's a few stitches slipped in a row, but basically every row you're going back and like down and back with a color, and then you drop that color and do the next color. It's also got a really pretty I-cord kind of bind off and edge included, even as you're like actively knitting. It creates this really pretty kind of rolled finish edge. It's knit flat, and then you seam it on the back. It's really hard to kind of envision how it's all going to come together until it actually does, but there's where it's seamed, and so then you can just kind of put it on straight over your head, and it's worn a little bit like a shawl, but without the like ends hanging down to tuck in. So anyway, I brought the original skeins too, so you can see I had quite a bit left over. This is the kind of peachy brown and cream. This was an art bat that I kind of carded myself and spun. And then this is the purple. It's got some brown. There's a whole bunch of fiber in this. I think the brown is alpaca, the purple is wool, the blue might have been mohair. There's also some sparkle in here, and there's orange, which I think is silk noil. That was from the New Jersey Fiber Festival when I used to live there, the Garden State Festival. And then the third color, the turquoise, is actually 2 different ones because this was my original. This is another art bat, a whole mixture of things. And I ran out almost, so luckily I had another skein of Handspun that was close enough in color. This was another kind of art bat I made myself of just a bunch of wool. And you can't really tell too much. Maybe, this one's a little bit more blue. Oh, you just see some of the sparkle in there. And then it turns a little bit more like a greenish hue. I think it it works out just fine. So yeah, there's that kind of introduction to mosaic knitting and all that to transition into what I've just cast on. And that is a pressed flowers cardigan. This is a new design by Christoffers. There is already a shawl version and now a hat version. The shawl has been out for a few years and has been at the top of my to knit list, but now there's a cardigan, which I find even more exciting. I am just so much more motivated to finish a sweater than I am a shawl. I don't know if that's you too, but the same fabric is featured in all of those designs. And it's another mosaic knitting stitch. So again, you're just knitting with one color at a time. You start with the gray and you go down and back. And then on the purple rounds for me, you're knitting a stitch and then slipping a gray, knit a stitch, slip a stitch. This also feature, actually both do feature some purling too. So that's kind of an extra element. This is making such a nice texture. This is kind of waffly because of the knits and the purls. And then these flowers are so sweet. That feels a little bit more like traditional color work. You do have some floats that you'll have to manage. But yeah, I think it makes the yarn stand out really pretty in this kind of bigger block of color there. So we'll put a picture here of what the full sweater looks like. So you can see kind of the full shape of it and the effect of this flowery fabric. But I am using some gray yarn from Allcentrum. I'm just going to try to grab this. This is the Allcentrum 2-ply sport weight, which comes to our shop from Sweden. This is my first time working with it, and I'm really loving it. It's got kind of like black mixed in with the light gray. I don't know how well you can see some of the texture there, but it's a fun yarn. It's gonna knit up to be kind of a nice structure, and it'll have some kind of hairiness, halo. Maybe against my shirt you can see some of the halo here, but not super fuzzy, like gonna fly off into your face sort of thing. But just kind of a nice little character to it. So this is the very beginning of the bottom hem of the sweater. It is knit flat, and I think that's kind of one of the coolest things about this design. Because it's mosaic knitting and not colorwork knitting, I'm not as intimidated by the working flat. When you see a cardigan that looks like it's colorwork, I don't know about you, but my mind goes to, okay, it's either knit on the right side and have to figure out colorwork on the purl side, like backwards, looking at the back side, or it's going to be steeked. And you can tackle either of those projects. They're perfectly doable. A lot of Marie Wallen patterns use flat colorwork knitting, and there's a lot of great steeking patterns out there too. I know a lot of our fans and customers have steeked things. Corinne walks you through steeking in the Victory Cardigan course. But the cool thing about this one is that you don't have to do either of those because it's mosaic knitting. You're only ever doing one color at a time. It makes sense to do it flat. So you kind of work one color down and then one color back. The only trick is that you need to remember which side of the work you're carrying your working yarn as you're working your slip stitches. Try to think of a good way to demonstrate that. Basically, when you're on the back side, you are kind of carrying your working yarn across the back of where you're slipping stitches. And if you don't do that kind of on the wrong side of the fabric, then you might see some of those carryings on the front side. But it tells you how to do that in the pattern. That's just kind of one element of working with the mosaic fabric. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun project. I'll show you my contrast colors too. These are more handspun yarns. This was I forget the fiber now. It's wool. I forget the breed. This is from Three Waters Farm. They do a Fiber of the Month club where Marianne dyes a colorway kind of inspired by each month. I got that for a while. So this was spun up from her a couple years ago. And I had some, I'd plied from 2 different bobbins, and I had some left over on one bobbin. So I plied the rest of those leftovers with like an all over kind of seafoam green color. So I've got this second skein, which has some of the purples and greens in with that seafoam color. I don't think that my first skein is going to be enough for the whole sweater, so I'm going to dip into this on the sleeves if I have to. Beyond that, I might even need to dip into further stash. It's kind of a theme here. Is with my handspun, I don't know how far it's going to go and if I'm going to run out. I had wound these a while ago, so I don't remember the yardage to be able to estimate that very well. So we'll see. If I need to, I've got this stash behind me here of JNS 2-ply. I might find a color that's comparable enough that I can kind of squeak that in at the bottoms of the sleeves and make it kind of blend if I have to. This pattern even is written in the pattern that it can kind of accommodate a variety of yarns. It calls for sport weight, which is like the all centrum that I'm using. And the contrast color that Amy uses is Spin Cycle dyed in the wool, which is sport weight. And it really closely mimics handspun, so that's why I'm digging into my handspun stash. I was also thinking the all centrum varied colors would be a lot of fun in this. There's the color that Kelsey was recently using in her area shawl. We're out of that one right now. I think that's been popular, but there are several other colors that have kind of a variation to them, which would be fun. We also have Making Tracks, which is a very variegated sort of handspun looking yarn that may be a bit heavy for this project. I find that to be on the heavier DK side. But my other idea was just taking a whole bunch of colors of yarns that you might even already have and just kind of using one for a bit, dropping it, using another color. You can be methodical about where you break it up according to the kind of flower motif. What the pattern says, if you're using a woolly wool, like a sticky wool, she recommends using fingering or sport weight. So she even says JNS 2-ply could be a good option. I'm thinking that Rauma Finalgarn makes a lot of sense for this pattern. That's a heavy fingering weight. That could be used for the main color and a whole array of contrasting colors if you want to kind of switch those up, or even just do a 2-color version. And she says if you're using a smoother, like superwash or a non-wool yarn, that you should go to a sport or a DK, and you'll probably have good luck getting gauged with that. I got gauged with my sport weight and my sort of unidentified weight of handspun. So yeah, that pattern has just a lot of potential, and I'm kind of excited about all the different options there are out there for that. And along the lines of kind of choosing the yarns in the project for that, I've been thinking about how to put together colors for color work when you're using a varied yarn, because I know that can be a little bit tricky. It's especially hard to visualize what some of these yarns are going to look like knit up. So I brought a couple of things to demonstrate kind of what works and then something I did in the past that didn't work so well. So first I'll show you some of what, maybe what didn't work. I'll show you that kind of fail first. This is a hat that I knit years ago. I picked up some superwash hand-dyed yarn from a yarn shop when I was visiting a town. And I knit this hat, which was supposed to have these nice color work, kind of like a lice stitch with these, you can see sort of attempts at the color work in here. And I think it's supposed to progress, like you had little bits of color work and then it got kind of denser and denser as you got up to the top. Can't remember now exactly, but I'll show you the yarns I used and why they didn't quite work out so well. So this is the variegated hand dyed, And it's got these kind of dark blues and pink and cream. And then this is my contrast color, which is just the dark blue. And they're pretty much the exact same color. I paired these together thinking they were going to be beautiful. It was going to work great. It would have worked well if I'd just done a solid brim and then a solid hat, I think. Or, you know, like socks, main color sock, heels and cuffs and toes. But when I tried to do color work with these, there were so many overlaps in the color that you can see the color work in this just got lost. So there's so much work in here to alternate the colors, and you can't tell because the two skeins had too many colors in common. So live and learn. I still love this hat. Yeah, it's still really pretty. It's still colors that I really liked. It's just the pattern didn't show up like I wanted. But I do have two examples of having worked with a variegated yarn where the colors did pop pretty well. This is Stay Ready Tea by This.Bird.Knits. Her name is Annie. And I did this as a test knit years ago. The light color in here is my Handspun. It is all quite pastel. Greens and pinks and purples and yellows. And then the other is just this dark navy. And there's never a point in the Handspun yarn where it gets dark enough that you can't see the color work popping out. There's the whole thing. It's actually meant to be a t-shirt, but I made these long kind of textured sleeves. So there's an example where just making sure that the light and dark of your Handspun or your variegated yarn doesn't compete too much with the dark of the main color that you've chosen. Or on the other side, if you have a dark variegated yarn, that there aren't any really light sections that are going to kind of interfere if you've chosen a light main color. And the other example I have is one that you've maybe seen me wear recently. This is my Brusca sweater, Manou sweater, knit in Brusca, Retrosaria, and Making Tracks, which is the variegated yarn. And again, this is mostly a very pastel color in the color work, and then a dark main color. You can also rely not so much on the difference between the light and the dark, but also on the color contrast. If you have like a really warm color versus a really cool color, even if they're about the same value, you can sort of get away with that at times. In my current project, I think there are going to be moments in this yarn that are a little bit on the light side. And are probably going to get a little bit lost in the gray of the main color. But I'm okay with that. The original even has some of that. It kind of creates like an interesting sort of shading effect in the fabric of the overall sweater. So yeah, I encourage you to kind of play around with matching up variegated yarns with other solid colors. And even pairing variegated yarns together. I think Maggie's shifty sweater in the recent episode is kind of a good example of where even like an all over 3 or 4 color variegated sweater can be really beautiful. If you use yarns that all kind of do have some sort of similar colors in them without being too close to each other, you're going to create a really beautiful fabric that kind of is cohesive and looks nice all together. So I hope you found that interesting or helpful, and thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Hope you enjoyed that segment with Caitlin. I love seeing her sweater knitting.
Mm-hmm.
She's working on the pressed flowers for Amy Christoffers.
Gorgeous.
We've been wanting to knit that shawl for a while. I just
Yeah.
can't quite get there, and now there's a cardigan.
Yeah.
So
it's lovely though.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Caitlin's such a good sweater knitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so good.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love seeing her personally. I love seeing her knit with her Handspun too.
Yes, of course. Of course.
So that's which is always fun.
Yep. We have another winner tennis, but we'll do that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got Rachel coming in a little bit too. We have some books that we want to quickly give you a heads up that are here or on pre-order.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good books on pre-order right now.
Yes, including, let's talk about them. We've got Fair 7. That's Fair 6 up there. So 7 is coming out.
Yep, 7's on pre-order.
It's on pre-order, and I saw the cover.
Nope. I'm sorry. 7 released last Friday. It is on its way to us, and as soon as it, hopefully by this time, it is on its way to
Yes,
you.
and actually on the cover I noticed is a beautiful woman called Jamie Beck, and I follow her on Instagram. She's an American who lives in Provence and lives what looks like the most beautiful life. Anyway, she's on the cover, which I thought was very interesting.
Nice.
So we haven't seen it, we haven't been able to flip through yet, but it's one of my favorite magazines. It's just beautiful. And we also have Yarn 2 coming. Now this is the Scottish Journal of Yarn.
Yep.
Issue 1 is there.
Yeah, issue 2 is on pre-order now.
Yeah.
Releases, I want to say later in November.
Yeah. So this is a magazine that features yarns and wool makers, or
it's all about Scotland.
It's all about Scotland and their yarn and their all that they do with textiles.
Yeah, and this issue has an article about Black Isle, and there are at least 9 patterns. I want to say there's 5 knitted and 4 crocheted.
Yeah,
so.
It's too bad we don't have it to flip through.
Yeah, we can put a few photos here for you.
Yeah, we were really chuffed with the first issue. Really good quality. So we assume more of that to come. Maggie, what else? Oh, the knitted fabric from Lina. Colorwork projects for you and your home.
Yeah, by D. Hardwick.
Yeah.
This looks like another beautiful book from Lina with colorwork projects that are of a bit of a different scope.
Yeah.
Some blankets and
gotta really love colorwork.
And you've got to really love colorwork, and you've got to be okay with working at maybe a slightly slower pace.
Yeah.
But really savoring those projects.
Yeah.
But they do look like beautiful projects that you would definitely savor.
Plenty of cushions and things like that too, though. You don't have to go blanket if you don't
I
want
think
to.
for me it looks a little intimidating, but we have so many talented knitters in our community that have jumped in and knit masterpieces that I don't think these would be.
Right.
They don't look complicated. They just, I don't know that
There's
I have
a
the
lot
endurance.
of them. But you know, you've been knitting on little what do we call those? Scrappy blankets. I mean, we've all been doing those. That's fingering weight.
Yeah.
So you just know you're in it for the long haul.
You do, yeah.
So anyway, that book is on pre-order right now, and of course, Knitted Kalevala, which is already sold out before it's released, and so they're doing a second print run now.
Yeah.
And we are taking pre-orders for that.
Yes. So I believe the book releases on November 11th.
Yep.
And so anybody who had pre-ordered, the date is on the website. I want to say it's before the 20th or 22nd, somewhere around there. You will have purchased from the first print run. So when the book launches, we will get all your pre-ordered books, and if you pre-ordered a kit, get that to you as well.
Yes, so we do have several kits from the book, because many of them are knit with yarns that we carry, which is just a delight, including Tuku DK, which is right here. Yeah. And Maggie, we need to talk about this in times of inflation and supply chain issues. We actually had some good news with Tuku DK.
Yeah.
We were able to reduce the price by $3, a skein, which is unheard of.
Right.
And that's because we're now ordering it direct from Tuku themselves in Finland. And believe it or not, that is cheaper than ordering through the previous channel. So, and it's lovely.
It is lovely.
There we go. And so, of course, now do we have Andrea Mowry's Douglas Cardi back in stock as a kit?
Yes, last time I checked, it is back in stock as a kit. And there were quite a few. We saw Douglas Cardis at Rhinebeck. They were just gorgeous.
Yep. And then...
and there's quite a few kits from the Knitted Kalevala book.
Right. I'm trying to...
I am terrible at their names.
Poholan, Nito. Anyway, there's 2 cardigans knit in... varying colors of this. Their color work. This is lovely. Though.
One they use Ujo as the base, which I don't have here.
Right. Right. And then there's a couple of patterns, including the Solula in Rama Fennel Garn. Hooray! I'll be knitting that for sure.
Yeah.
So we've put together some color combinations for you too, if you don't want to think too hard about it.
Yeah.
Look at the ones we've put together. You might find something that you like, and we'll send the book and the kit out together.
Yep.
Yes. So there we go. Yeah. Do we want to go through these, or are we good?
I think we're probably good.
Yeah.
These have been in the shop, and you can order your Tuku DK now.
Yep, and Tuku's colors are fairly consistent through their different lines of yarn. So there's nothing different in these choices. It's the same as the fingering weight and so on. Okay. Oh, and they also Kalevala has a pattern with Lettlopi as well. Did we put kits together for that?
Yeah, that's also in the shop.
Good. All right, the other thing we added to the shop this last week or so is the Hap Exploration.
Yeah.
Yep, which is, if you remember back in April this year.
May? I don't remember.
Or maybe March. I think it was April. I don't know. But we did a Hap Exploration Cal where you joined and you were given access to interviews I did with various Hap experts from Shetland. It was really fun. And so we have put all those interviews together, and you can now purchase that from the shop. It's been a good 6 months since we did that, and those are there for you to view whenever you like and to watch as maybe you knit your own Hap on your own schedule. So we just wanted to share that's there now.
And if you decide that you do want to knit a Hap while you're doing it, if you pick up a Hap kit from us, you actually get a little discount on the Hap.
That's right.
On the Hap Exploration.
Yes, it's better to bundle. That's always good. All right, I think that's it for general news in the shop. So we are now going to...
Oh, we still had one. This is a tiny thing, but I'm really excited about it. We've recently restocked a lot of our stitch marker sets, and we added this new one. So it is you get one Thistle Progress Keeper. This matches, we have buttons in the shop that also match this. I love these little guys.
Yeah.
And then you get, I think, 12 jump ring stitch markers, and they are just adorable.
They are.
So we have a bunch of stitch markers in the shop right now.
Yep.
But these, I mean, it's thistles.
It's thistles with the thistle tin.
It's just really pretty.
Which we love. Okay, so I think that's everything, generally speaking, in the shop. And now we need to talk about our Black Friday event, which we're so excited about because we plan this all year long, don't we?
We do.
And in years gone by, it has been a really fun event. I think people have been really excited for what we're able to get you and offer you. These are things that typically are scarce and the best of what the Woolly Thistle offers. And we're not going to disappoint this year.
And some of it is just special that you won't see any other time of year here.
Yeah, or rarely, if at all.
Right.
So should we start with this year's selection box?
Yes.
So this year's selection box is yet another gigantic, big, filled to the gummels box filled with beautiful special yarn and lovely bits and pieces. We are still waiting on a couple of things to come in, so we will not be showing you a couple of extra things that go in here, but I think for the most part all the yarn is in here. So we're going to give you a sneaky peek just of the top layer, and there's no filler in here. This is all yarn, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so first up, Maggie, is this beautiful,
we hold the box?
Yeah, maybe in a minute. So this is Joy, and she is in her lovely home with a roaring fire, Christmas tree. She's brought sheepy in, and there's a chicken in there too, and she's looking very happy knitting her winter knits. So we thought you'd enjoy that. We think it's very pretty, don't we? Yeah, so that's on the bag.
And you'll also get a couple of stickers that have this scene on it.
Yes, exactly. And then the top layer is filled with gorgeousness. And actually, there's some new yarn in here. Maybe we'll talk about this one first, because you'll actually get 2 balls of this. This is very special and brand new. It is Wensleydale long wool from England, and this is their Aran weight. Maggie, have you felt this?
I have. It's
silky.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's got really good sheen and luster.
But it's very fluffy at the same time.
It is.
So you'll get 2 100-gram balls of this.
And they'll be coordinating colors.
Right, different colors. This is a natural. They do have dyed colors as well. We're waiting for that order to come in.
Yeah, it's on its way.
It's on its way. So that's very special. We haven't had that in the Woolly Thistle ever before.
No.
Then we have 2 skeins of Garthanor's organic yarn, and we're going with number 2 for this box, which is their fingering weight, and just, you know, one of the best yarns we have here at the Woolly Thistle. We have so many good ones. It's hard to choose. So that's in there, and that's very squishy. Then representing the US, we have Jagger Spun, and their beautiful special run of Gotland wool, which is just lovely. And you'll get 2 skeins of that. That's 250-gram skeins.
And this is sport weight.
Gorgeous. Very drapey. We have this box is quite drapey in a way. Yeah, so that's beautiful. So you'll get 2 of these.
Yeah.
Maggie, we're very excited, aren't we, to include Black Isle yarns in this box. And this is it, Frauch. This is a brand new yarn from Julie on the Black Isle in Scotland. The Black Isle is just north of Inverness, so it's up in the Highlands. You have to get the bridge over to it. And she sources all her wool from Black Isle farmers, so we know exactly what went in here. This is a 75% Shetland, 25% Gotland, with a hint of Shetland and Charolais wools in there. So it's a 75-25. It's a fingering weight, though it's in meters, so I can't be completely certain how many yards it is, but it's 320 meters, and we'll put the yardage in, and it's a natural gray.
The pattern suggestion card lists both the meters and the yardage.
Perfect. Yeah, and so there'll be a pattern suggestion card in here too, like we always do. A mix of free patterns and paid patterns as well, so that you can get knitting right away. All available on Ravelry. Yeah. But this is just lovely, and it's got a little sheet designed by our friend Katie Green as well, Katie Greenbean. But yeah, very special, very limited, and only in this box here. And there'll be lots of other goodies. There's a whole second layer down here. This is sort of half full right now. Yeah. But there is a whole second layer underneath that we are not going to show you today because we're just having fun with this. We're throwing in from the Knitting Barber this nice wooden depiller for your knits, keeping things nice and tidy. Of course, we're going to include stitch markers. And Maggie, what do we have in here?
There is a Thistle Progress Keeper.
Yep, different from the other one.
Different from the other one. Both are beautiful. And this one's
more cut out.
Let's see if I can get it to.
There.
There we go.
Beautiful thistle, and then quite a few jump ring stitch markers in there too. Yeah. And there's going to be other goodies which we don't have to show you yet, so we're not going to. But yeah. Very happy with this box, and we hope you like what you're seeing today as well. Yeah, all right. So that's it. That's the sneaky peek, Maggie.
That is it.
So more to find out. Maggie, they should do what to find out more?
They should get on our email list, because we are going to be doing a special Black Friday early access that will give you a chance at securing this box. Yes. Our selection boxes are the best of what we do, and these are pretty limited. Yeah. So if you want a shot at the selection box this year, you're going to have to be on the early access list.
You'll be on the early access list. The last time we did an early access list, we sold out from that list, and there wasn't any left. If there are some left, they will go on sale on Black Friday, of course, but you can get yours before Black Friday by joining the early access list, and to do that you just need to sign up to our email. If you're already in our email, then
you're already in our email, just keep checking your email, and we're going to have details for you soon as to how you can sign up for early access Black Friday.
So yes, if you are on our email list, keep checking your emails like you were saying. And you will get instructions on how to sign up for the early access, which I think is very important.
Yeah, and then that way we can get you all the information that you need about what's going to be in the box, where you need to be, and when you need to be there.
That's right. So Maggie, we are doing a couple of other boxes this Black Friday. These are very limited. We don't have a lot of these at all, and it'll be first come, first serve. So these boxes are like this, and this one's called The Taste of New England. And
Do you want me to hold it?
sure. Okay, so first up you get a lovely classic woolly thistle tote bag, gusseted canvas tote bag. And then you get all this delicious stuff inside. There is Stonewall Kitchen, which is a Maine company. You get a cookie mix. Let's talk about the yarns though.
Yeah.
Okay, pop it down. Don't cover your pretty face. So from Harrisville Designs in New Hampshire, we have a skein of flywheel, and that will come in a variety of different colors. Then we have Jagger Spun, which is from Maine, of course. And this is their Heathers, which we love, 4-ply. And then we have Savage Heart Farm, which is a local Vermont farm. She is a farmer, and she actually is one half of Junction Fiber Mill.
Yeah.
This is not dyed.
Yeah.
This is her natural, one of the 3 natural colorways she has from her flock of, is it Corriedale?
Yeah, she's got Corriedale.
Yeah, beautiful.
And yeah, it's sort of amazing that this natural Morit almost looking color is
not dyed.
Not dyed. Corriedale.
Incredibly even. Yeah, so she
Nice and bouncy.
is gorgeous. It's lovely. They all are. So this one is, what weight is this? DK, 4-ply, and flywheel is approximately 170 yards.
Sport.
Yeah, I think it's a sport too. So you get 3 different yarns there, all from the tri-state area in New England here, northern New England. Locally, we have sourced the Farmer's Body, and this is a body butter. And that comes in this, which is nice. And then these mulling spice bags, which comes from Cold Hollow Cider Mill, which is in Waterbury, Vermont.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Those
This
are
box
really cool.
smells good.
Mm-hmm.
And we've thrown in some stickers for the woolly thistle there. And I think that's everything that goes in there, Maggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lovely box. Just a few of those will be available. Early access people, so you want to sign up for that.
Yeah.
And then we have one more box, which we want to show you. It's another box, similar size, jam-packed though. Sorry, Maggie.
That's okay.
This one we're calling the Huga box because it's all about getting cozy. And first off, it includes, sorry, Maggie.
That's okay.
It includes a beautiful linen tea towel from Scotland. This is the last of the tea towels because unfortunately that mill went out of production. It's closed down.
Yeah.
And we got the last of these, and there's not very many left. So very, very special, beautiful linen tea towel. And then look at all this fun stuff. We have, of course, our wonderful Portland yarn from Armscott in England in Warwickshire. And that is a 4-ply, 100 grams. And new to us, Ruth, who actually works at the Woolly Thistle, she has her own sheep. And we decided to put this in because it's so lovely. Sunrise Hill Farm, and this is a Shetland Fin Cross DK weight. And I believe it's 100 grams. Beautiful natural brown, which I just love. And in here we've got a cookie mix from Stonehouse. We have our own mug with a beautiful gold logo on it, so you can feel special. Stickers, of course. A nice little tin for tea time that you can keep things in. And this is from 27 Teas, and you've got different mixes for your drinks, for your hot drinks. And it's a blend, or it's a sort of a sample pack. So you've got chocolate peppermint, our best black, Caribbean green, lemon raz, and turmeric trio. So they all come like that, and you get that. They might all be different, or do you think they're all?
I think that they're all sets like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then for the coffee lovers, there is Abracadabra Coffee, which is local to us here as well. So we tried to support our local vendors with these boxes, and we think you're going to love it.
We had a lovely sample of these, and they're really good.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
If you're a coffee drinker.
Yeah, you're going to love it. Also to go in here, which are not ready yet, are the chocolates. We have a local chocolate tier, providing chocolates for that. And for the other box, we will have maple candy in there, which is very traditional New England.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
And what else, Maggie, are we going to have coming for our Black Friday event?
Wow. Hold on to your hat. We have grab bags. Our JNS Baker's Dozen grab bags, 13 balls of JNS yarn.
Yeah.
And cones.
Cones. And we have gone all in. We have gotten the mother load of cones coming because we know how much you would like to have them, and it's going to be at our Black Friday event. So definitely, if you're in the market for JNS cones, 2-ply, jumper weight, they'll be available.
And we've ordered some Supreme cones as well. So we'll have a small sampling of Supreme cones. The majority will be the 2-ply cones.
Right. In all colors as well. So we hope that excites you. I'm sure there's other things that, but that's probably enough for now.
Yeah.
So yes, we hope that you are excited by what we've shown you today, and that you will be signing up for early access to avoid, hopefully, any disappointment, for sure.
Yeah.
When does our Black Friday event start, Maggie?
Our Black Friday event starts. Early access is going to open on the 18th.
What day is that?
That is a Saturday.
Right.
We're going to do things a little bit different. So early access is going to open on a Saturday at noon Eastern time.
Which is way before actual Black Friday. So it's before Thanksgiving. We want to get this to you as soon as possible.
Yeah. This way, by Thanksgiving, you're
just eating turkey.
Set.
You're happy.
Yeah.
Things might even be in the mail to you.
Yes, because all of this will be ready to ship when you order it.
Yeah.
So certainly our fulfillment team will get things out as quickly as possible.
We'll be drowning.
It might go outside our normal, we're usually so fast, so it might go outside that normal 3-day window, 3-day workday window.
Yeah.
But for sure, it'll be on its way.
It won't be dragging into December, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We'll be on it.
So you'll want to get on the early access list so that you can be shopping on the 18th. Everyone else, whatever is still available.
Yep.
I don't anticipate selection boxes will still be available.
But if they are,
they would just go in the shop and everyone will have access on the 19th.
Yes. So early access does get you a little bit of wiggle room. You don't have to get your elbows out quite as much, which is nice. So yeah, we're excited about all of this. There's a lot going on, and we are ready, Maggie. Our fulfillment team is fully, what's the word? We've got everybody that we need.
Staffed.
Thank you. So our fulfillment team is fully staffed, and they will be packing orders. They turn into shop elves right around now, and we keep things fun. And we bring in pizza and, lovely things for everyone to enjoy while we work really hard through that through that Black Friday event. So we really, we want to get you your things out as soon as humanly possible. That's what we'll be trying to do.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm sure there'll be other things popping up. So, just be watching your emails. We wanted to show you the highlights, though, for sure. So, Maggie, I think we have another winner to announce before we go off to Rachel's postcard.
Yes. Our second winner today is Helen Alessi. And Helen says, another fun chat, all things woolly. Those blankets are dreamy and so pretty. I enjoy hearing about all your whips. It helps me justify my case of cast on itis. I'm glad we can help. I want to knit it all. Is that a bad thing?
No.
Nope. Not at all.
We're right there with you.
So Helen, email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps, and we will get you your $25 gift card.
Yes, and again, to everyone else, if you'd like to be in the running to win a gift card to the Woolly Thistle, just leave a comment below and give us a thumbs up. Be sure you're subscribing to our channel, and that's all you need to do. All right, Maggie, before we go off to Rachel, is there anything else that we've missed? Dun, dun, dun.
I don't think so.
There's just so much. I'm sure we've missed something, but we hope that you've enjoyed our episode this time. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. I think all that's left to say is, if you go out,
take your knitting.
Bye.
Hi Woolly Sisters, it's Rachel from Barkland Croft, but as you can probably see, I'm not here in Barkland Croft. I'm here at Wool with Madeline, who is the mill engineer. and she's going to tell us a bit about how the process goes from fleece through to wool.
At the end of my last video, I just delivered my fleeces down to the pier here in Fair Isle, and they went out on the boat to Gruttness in Shetland. A few days later, Nieva and I flew out, picked up the camper van and managed to cram it full of the sacks of fleece. On our travels, we called in to see Pam, Corinne's mum, who used to spend a lot of time here in Fair Isle, so it was lovely to see her and catch up with her, and she very kindly gave us a bed for the night before we carried on over to North Uist, to Uist Wool, and to drop the fleeces off. Matin var, woollythistlers. Is mi Sharonich, ayas hami an show, eg Uist Wool, al nan Uist atua. Well, that's about the extent of my Gaelic, so mach a show. Let's go.
I'm standing here next to this lovely special delivery of fleeces all the way from Fair Isle. So we're looking forward to getting our hands on these. So the first step we do is grading the wool. We will put out each individual fleece on a table like this. We'll get rid of anything that's kind of dirty around the edges, or any rough wool, particularly around the back legs, or anything that's cotted or brittle. We just keep a lookout for anything that's not suitable for making a quality yarn. And then we'll judge the fibre length. So that's a nice 4 inches. And the colour, so we'll keep the colours separate or sort of together. So this here we might sort into, we'll definitely have a white, we'll probably have light greys, mid greys, dark browns, and there are some Mowry fleeces. So we'll get a few sort of collections of colours. Once we finish this process, we will prepare them for washing in this machine over here. It's called a Fair Note. This is the little one. So we'll feed in the fleeces. It's got big metal teeth that will open up the fleeces and just bring a little bit of air into the fleeces, because if we put them in like this, there wouldn't be much space for the water and detergent to circulate. So we want to kind of open up the fleeces and fluff them up a bit. So that's what this machine does. And then we will get through to the wash house. So now we've got the nice fluffy wool. We've got to weigh it out for the washing machine. The washing machine has 3 compartments, and they have to be perfectly evenly loaded. Otherwise, when it comes to the fast spin at the end, it has happened actually here that it's bolted to the floor, but it's sheared off the bolts and the machine started wandering about the floor because it didn't have an even load. So it's quite a lot of force in it when it's spinning. So wash about 7.5 kilos in one load. Well, 2.5 in each compartment, so 7.5 kilos in total. And once it's washed, we will have roughly 5 kilos of clean wool weight. So we will lose a little bit of dirt, and we will lose a little bit of lanolin. So it's quite a sticky greasy oil, so if we left that in the wool, it would stick to our machinery and things wouldn't run very smoothly. So that's why we need to wash most of it out. There'll still be a little bit of lanolin left, but not as much as when it started. So we use a biodegradable detergent. That'll start filling with hot water. It's about 60 degrees, 58 to 60 degrees Celsius. I have no idea what that's in Fahrenheit. But it's quite hot. Ideally we want it a little bit hotter still, but we are limited with the boiler we're using as a domestic boiler, so it doesn't go any higher than that. But you do need quite hot water in order to wash the raw fleece, and the reason we get away with that without the wool felting is there's the 3 elements that you need to incorporate in order for the wool to felt. So you need the detergent, you need the heat, and you need the abrasion. But because this is a machine that's built for wool washing, it's got very, very gentle movement. So because there's nothing that's rubbing the fibers against each other, that stops it from felting. So that means we can have hot water, we can have detergent without felting. So we're just having a quick look up in the drying loft, where we will spread the wool out on netting as thinly as possible. That's the best way of getting it to dry quickly. If you put it too thick, it can take weeks and still not dry. So spread it thinly and try and kind of work it with your hands to fluff it up a bit. We also run dehumidifiers because we are in a very damp, should we say, environment here. So we run dehumidifiers 24/7 to just keep taking the moisture out of the air, and that works better than heating because it's very low energy and it takes the moisture out of the air. So we find that works pretty well. So usually we've got the wool that we've spread out in one day is dry the next day. Then we will bag it like so and weigh it, and then when we have everything ready, we'll carry it down to the mill and get the carding and spinning process started. So now we're down in the mill with some imaginary clean dry wool. We haven't got anything running at the moment, but the first stage, once we're ready to start carding, is the blending. So we've got a machine that is similar to the one we saw up in the wash house for opening up the fibers. This one's got a cover on it just now. So you can see there it looks like a carding machine, but it's got the big metal teeth on the rollers. And that's to just open up the wool. So when it's been wet and washed and dried, it can kind of gather in lumps. And we don't want any kind of solid lumps of wool to go into the carding machine because that can jam in between the rollers and they're quite sensitive. So we want to fluff up the wool and also make a bit of a blend of the fibers. It will be particularly noticeable if you're blending colors. So most of the wool that we produce is a range of greys, but to make those greys, more often than not, it's a mix of black and white fibers. We don't have very many grey sheep here anyway, so we tend to mix black and white to create the tone of grey that we want. So we will fill up this feed hopper and we'll try and do it so that it's reasonably even. Might put 2 parts white, 1 part black, 2 parts white, 1 part black, and try and keep that throughout the batch. And then this feed hopper will feed that wool into this machine. And when it goes through these rollers, that will mix the colors together so that it comes out. You can still see the individual colors, but they're a little bit more mixed in with each other. Even if you're just doing a solid white, it's still quite important that you run it through this machine so that it mixes up, because the individual fleeces might have differences in fiber length or crimp, and you want that to be mixed evenly throughout the batch rather than the start of a batch being very different from the end of a batch. So you want to mix it all up and fluff it up as well. At the end of this machine there is a fan that you can see that takes it into this cupboard. So this will fill up, not really anything in it at the moment, but this will fill up, and when you open it, it's like just a wall of wool. And it'll take maybe 60-70 kilos. And once we've finished our batch, we will oil the wool. So we'll put a mixture of spinning oil and water. So the spinning oil that we use is a water-soluble oil, and that will help the wool run. It's a bit like putting conditioner on your hair. It makes it easier to brush. So it's a little bit like that. It'll help it card and separate the fibers easier. Once we've got our oiled wool, we'll start carding, and we will weigh out by hand on here, weigh out and put it on the feed sheet. So depending on the thickness we want for the finished yarn, we will put in different weights, and at the start we'll always, so here we started with 165 grams, and it was a little bit too heavy, so we had to go down to 160 grams, and that brought us to a better thickness. Because each batch is different, we just have to work out. We know roughly where to start, but we might have to adjust it for that particular batch. And when we're feeding the wool in, you've got the first set of rollers have got small metal teeth, not as big as on the other machine we saw, and that's again to tease out any thicker lumps, so that when it comes to this finer card clothing, there's no solid kind of lumps left, because these are set very close to each other,
So if you got anything that's too thick, it can jam and actually kind of damage this hard clothing. So and then once we get to this, these work in pairs. We've got a big drum in the middle that just keeps feeding the wool forward, and then these two work in pairs, one big slow one and one small fast one. This one will pick up the wool from the center, and it will kind of the wool will move in loops, so it'll kind of go back the way and then back onto the central drum, and then move forward a bit and then make another loop. And every time it makes a loop around these rollers, it will be a little bit better brushed, a little bit better blended, and more straightened out. So when the fibers are going in, they're pointing in every direction. But for every roller they pass, they start to get more parallel with each other. Here you can see maybe better, but this is the big drum in the middle that keeps just feeding everything forward, and then it makes loops around these. And then we get to this one. This is my favorite. It's called the Fancy. You don't often see it because it's got a cover on it normally. And it's called the Fancy, and it's got a much longer wire, and it's flexible wire. And this is the only one where it's allowed to touch. Otherwise, all the card clothing has to be close, but not touching. But this one can actually, it's allowed to touch because it's a soft, long wire. And the job of this one is to lift the wool out a little bit from central drum, so that we can peel it off. And that's what this big one at the middle is what takes it off. So when it comes out, we've got a very kind of delicate wide web of fibers. So in order to move it onto the next carding machine, we'll just pull it together a bit, and that just allows it to hold together. And then it goes above our heads on a little conveyor belt, and here it drops down onto the next feed sheet. Here we've got an automated process. This is actually the newest part of this carding line. The carding machines themselves are from 1850s, 1860s, we reckon. So this one is much newer, 1947, but that's a new addition. And what this does is moves from side to side to spread the fibers out. So in this sliver, as it's called, the fibers are all pointing this way. But now we want to put it across the way, so that when it goes into the next carding machine, it's got something to work on. If you just keep feeding them in straight, not much will happen. So we put them across, and that's to start blending the fibers again. So that just puts it at right angles, and then this carding machine is pretty much the same as the other one. It has maybe it can have slightly finer card clothing, and the rollers can be set slightly, just a little bit closer together. And when we come to the end of this carding machine, we will keep the web of fibers wide, and it's very delicate. So here it will go into a machine called the condenser, and that will separate this wide web into 40 individual strips of wool. That's also very fragile. There's 40 of these, and they get divided on different levels and then get passed through these rubbers. So this kind of flat tape of fibers goes into here, in between two of these rubbers, where they get just rubbed side to side, and that will roll it into something that looks like yarn. It's not quite yarn yet, but that rubbing process just holds it together enough for us to handle it. Makes just it's a little bit less delicate, but it doesn't have the strength yet. So that will break apart very easily if you pull it. So what we need to do next is spin it and add twist, and that's what's stopping the fibers from pulling apart. So when this machine is running, it will start filling these spools up. We've just swapped this over for empty spools and ready to start filling them up again. But the full spool is on the spinning frame. So this is a ring spinning frame from 1959. And the spools go on to here. In here we have a drafting section. We put a tiny bit of twist in here, but just enough so that we can still stretch the fiber, and we draft it about 25%. So for every 4 meters that passes through here, it'll be 5 meters when it's yarn. It will stretch out, so that's to you'll even out some of the, if there's any thick or thin bits, you even it out by drafting it. When it's just slightly twisted, that means the thin sections will have a high twist and they won't stretch. But if there's a thick bit, that will stretch out. And then between here and here, these spindles are turning all the time, and the wool keeps feeding through. And these, when these are spinning, they add twist to the yarn. There's a little piece here called a Traveler. It looks like that, and that keeps tension on the yarn, but also guides it onto the tube when it's kind of got the right twist. And then these will fill up. It takes about 2.5 of those to fill up this yellow tube. And once that's full, depending on what yarn we're making, if it's a knitting yarn, we will take 2 or 3 of these and twist them together the opposite way, partly to make a thicker yarn and partly to balance the yarn, because if you've got a single ply yarn and try to knit with it, you can knit a square, but once you've washed that, it won't be square anymore because it wants to lean. But when you twist them together in the opposite direction at the exact same angle, that's when you balance the yarn so that you get a yarn that's nice and stable and keeps straight, doesn't twist around the seams. So that's done on this little machine, which is the newest one we've got. We like our old machines, but we couldn't source a machine of the right size for us to do the twisting. So we've got this one brand new, all the way from Prince Edward Island. And so here we're taking 2 of those single strands and twisting it. And the principle of this machine is pretty much the same as the bigger spinning machine. It just does everything in the opposite direction. And if it is knitting yarn, we will take it onto the skein winder. And wind it onto skeins and tie them up and bring them back up to the wash house for another wash. And that's because the fibers, when they've been through the process, they've been constantly under tension, and they've got the spinning oil in. They just feel a bit stiff and flat. And when you give them a wash, you wash out the oil and you allow the fibers to relax in the water, they become fluffy and woolly and nice again.